Before the crowd knew what was coming, Bruno Mars and Karol were already building the moment. Newly shared photographs from their early soundcheck at SoFi Stadium show the two artists preparing Risk It All together, offering a rare look at the work behind the surprise performance that would later ignite Karol's Los Angeles show. The setting alone tells part of the story. SoFi Stadium hosted Karol's Viajando por el Mundo Tropitour on August 15, 2026, one of 3 consecutive Los Angeles dates listed by the venue. But the photographs reveal what an official event listing cannot. They show the preparation. Bruno Mars and Karol appear with microphones in hand, moving through the stage environment and working through the song before the audience arrived. They stand close enough to communicate visually, while the enormous production surrounding them makes clear that this was not simply an informal rehearsal. There was a performance to build. And there was very little room for error. Risk It All carries particular significance for Bruno Mars because it comes from his 2026 album The Romantic. SoFi Stadium itself identifies the song as part of the album and notes that its official music video was directed by Bruno and Daniel Ramos. The venue also reports that Risk It All reached number 1 on Apple's global song chart following the album's release. That makes the soundcheck more than an interesting backstage photograph. It captures a meeting between 2 major musical worlds. Karol was bringing Bruno into the atmosphere of her stadium tour. Bruno, meanwhile, was bringing one of his own songs into her show. The result would become one of the night's most unexpected moments. What makes the images especially compelling is the contrast between scale and intimacy. SoFi Stadium is built for spectacle. Its enormous seating bowl, lighting systems, elevated platforms, visual effects, and massive stage can make any performer appear larger than life. Yet the photographs reduce the moment to something much simpler. 2 singers. 2 microphones. 1 song. And a lot of concentration. That is where the story becomes less about celebrity and more about musicianship. A soundcheck may look effortless from the audience. In reality, it is where artists discover whether a performance will actually work. Vocal levels have to be balanced. Musicians have to hear one another. Stage positions must be clear. Lighting and effects have to land at the right moment. For a duet, the challenge is even greater. Both performers must understand where the other voice enters. They must know when to step forward and when to leave space. Their movements need to look natural rather than rehearsed. The newly shared images give fans a glimpse of that process. They show Bruno and Karol appearing focused on each other and on the performance. That visual chemistry would later become part of the excitement surrounding their appearance. The timing was also significant. Karol's Los Angeles run was not a small club engagement or a one-night promotional appearance. SoFi Stadium officially lists 3 consecutive Viajando por el Mundo Tropitour shows on August 14, 15, and 16. That meant the second Los Angeles night already carried enormous expectations. Then Bruno appeared. For fans, the surprise changed the character of the evening. Instead of simply watching Karol perform her own catalog, the audience suddenly had an opportunity to see 2 global stars share one stage. And Risk It All was an especially effective choice. The song belongs to Bruno's current musical chapter. It is part of The Romantic, the album that launched a new phase of his solo career in 2026. SoFi Stadium describes the album as his long-awaited 4th solo album and notes that I Just Might became his first number 1 debut on the Billboard Hot 100. That context matters because Bruno was not simply appearing as a famous guest. He was bringing his own artistic world into the room. There is a difference. A celebrity cameo can last 30 seconds. A musical collaboration requires trust. And the photographs suggest that trust was already present during rehearsal. Karol does not appear to be simply waiting for Bruno to finish. Bruno does not appear to be standing apart from the production. They appear to be working together. That is what makes the soundcheck footage so valuable. Fans usually encounter a performance at its most polished stage. They see the finished choreography, the lighting, the camera angles, the crowd reaction, and the final vocals. They rarely see the uncertainty that comes first. These photographs capture that missing chapter. They show the moment when the performance was still being constructed. For Bruno, that preparation is particularly interesting because his live reputation has always been closely connected to precision. His concerts are built around timing. The vocals have to land. The choreography has to connect with the music. The band has to move as one unit. Even moments that appear spontaneous are often supported by years of stage experience. That does not make them less genuine. It makes the performance possible. And Risk It All presented a different challenge from one of Bruno's high-energy numbers. The song depends heavily on emotional delivery. The vocal exchange matters. The space between phrases matters. That means chemistry cannot be manufactured entirely through production. The singers have to listen. The soundcheck images appear to capture exactly that process. There is another reason the moment resonated with fans. Bruno Mars was already heading toward his own major Los Angeles run at the same stadium. SoFi Stadium lists multiple September and October dates for the Romantic tour, including September 30th and October 2nd, 3, 6, and 7. So his appearance with Karol G effectively became an early preview of the artist returning to SoFi in his own environment. But this time, he was not the headliner. He was the surprise. That reversal made the moment more exciting. The stadium belonged to Karol G. Yet for several minutes, the attention shifted toward Bruno and the song he had brought with him. Then something else happened. The collaboration became a conversation between two audiences. Karol G's fans were introduced to another side of Bruno's current music. Bruno's fans saw him operating inside Karol G's world. And Risk It All became the meeting point. That is the deeper story behind the photographs. They are not merely evidence that two celebrities were together backstage. They document a musical exchange. The significance becomes even clearer when considering the scale of Karol G's tour. Ticketmaster lists her 2026 itinerary as a major stadium run, including SoFi Stadium and other large venues across the United States. The platform also identifies Becky G as a special guest on several dates, including the August 15th Los Angeles show. In that environment, an appearance by Bruno Mars was always going to attract attention. But the soundcheck photographs reveal something fans could not see from their seats. The preparation. The communication. The concentration. And perhaps most importantly, the willingness to share the spotlight. That final point is easy to overlook. Both artists are capable of commanding an enormous stage alone. Bruno has spent years developing a performance style that can fill arenas and stadiums. Karol G has built an equally powerful connection with her audience. When artists of that scale collaborate, the biggest challenge can be making sure either performance feels like a competition. The images suggest the opposite. Their staging appears designed around interaction. That makes the eventual performance feel more natural. It also explains why fans reacted so strongly. The most memorable collaborations often create the sensation that something unexpected is happening in real time. The audience sees two familiar artists in an unfamiliar configuration. That was the feeling surrounding Risk It All at SoFi. But there is an important distinction between what the photographs prove and what fans may speculate about. The images can show that Bruno and Karol G rehearsed together. They can show that they shared the stage. They can show that they worked on the performance. They cannot establish anything about their private relationship. That distinction is important in entertainment reporting. The strongest story is already there. Two major artists prepared a collaboration. They brought it to one of the biggest stadium stages in Los Angeles. And fans witnessed the result. There is no need to add speculation to make the moment interesting. The music is enough. And the photographs make the music feel more human. One frame shows an artist preparing a vocal. Another captures a glance. Another reveals the scale of the stage. Together, they create a sequence. Preparation. Focus. Performance. Reaction. That is the anatomy of a major live moment.